What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel and video number 2 of the Schmidtytune versus Trifecta. The first video was pretty much installing the programming and the software to get everything logged with HP tuners. But now we are finally done. 13 logs or 13 tunes later with Justin Schmidt. 4 days later. Took 4 days because my scheduling, and we had some rain that we had to kind of stop halfway through some days. But it took a total of 13 tunes, 4 days with me. Normally, something like this wouldn't take that long. I'll be honest with you guys. If my schedule wasn't as the way it actually works out, I would actually have had a full day and no rain, a nice day and no rain. It could have been done all in one shot, maybe one day, maybe a day and a half, because you gotta let the car cool down when you're doing so many runs and logging so many runs. Anyways, the car is finally done. We got the tune that we need out of it, and to run properly and to run efficiently and to get more power out of the car. So now is basically the comparison part. Now, today's another crappy day. Pretty much just very windy, cold. It's about 40 degrees right now outside here, and you know, it just kind of sucks. So we're gonna try to do is basically compare the Trifecta tune and the Justin Schmidt tune or Schmidtytune, and see where actually the Schmidtytune wins and by how much. Here's what we're gonna compare. We're gonna be doing a comparison on torque, 0 to 60, and boost. That's the three things we're gonna look at. Not really worried about what speeds I can reach. Horsepower is gonna be hard to pinpoint because, of course, we don't have a dyno. So we're gonna be doing those three things. Those three things we can actually log and record with the HP tuners. Also, 0 to 60, we can see exactly how much time it takes for the car from getting 0 to 60 with the Trifecta and Schmitty's. Now, I was gonna do one on the stock tune, but most of us already know they've driven this car before we've done anything to them, where the stock tune is at with this car. Pretty much, they actually, if you look up, and I'm gonna put the link in the description below so you don't have to look it up. Edmunds did a nice piece back in 2013 with the second generation CTSV, the V Sport at the time, the 2014, and the XTS V Sport. And they did a really nice piece on it where they basically took the cars and dynoed them, hooked them up to some hub dynos and just ran these things and saw the results off of that. Now, stock, this car, I'm not talking about horsepower, I'm talking about torque, was doing about, they said that about 335, if I'm correct. They see numbers hit 435 wheel torque, and that's at the wheels at some times. But again, and then they compared it to the V at the time, the second generation V, and they were pretty close. I mean, horsepower was off by 100 in a dyno, and torque was off by like 80 pounds on a dyno. So, I mean, if you go stock to stock, those cars, this car was an overachiever. So I will have a link in the description if you guys want to read that whole article on that. Again, don't quote me on those numbers I said. I read it earlier, and I didn't remember all the numbers 100%, but check that out. It's actually a really good piece. I read that whole thing. I don't know if anybody else here has read it. But anyways, so again, what we're going to be doing is we're going to get in the car. It's set back to the Trifecta tune. So after Justin Schmidt did the tune and we finished it, I set it back to stock, rewrote the Trifecta tune on the car. I've driven it for about a day or so with it, just kind of so it learns what it's doing. Now we're going to do some pulls. Now we're going to keep this as safe as possible. Again, we do have to go to Mexico to do these pulls and runs, but I'm going to keep it under 80 miles an hour. I don't want to go crazy and get into the hundreds or anything like that because we're going to be doing it in a public highway in Mexico, and you just want to keep it as safe as possible. I'm not taking it to a track. Actually, I don't even track my car, so that's where we're at. I mean, I do this for fun. I do this because I want more power and to have fun. You know, sometimes when you do go out to Mexican highways and you meet somebody on the road out there, you know, those 5.0s or even those scat packs out there. Anyways, so we're gonna go ahead and just basically hop in the car. We're gonna get it warmed up first of all because it's cold, and we're gonna go and try these. Again, we're gonna be measuring torque, 0 to 60, and PSI boost or boost for these cars, and see what the difference is between this. Now I'm gonna be logging everything, so I'll be showing you those at the end. So let's go ahead and get in the car and do these pulls real quick. Gotta get to a highway first. All right, so we are in the caddy. We're getting into operating temperature. You don't wanna beat on this thing right away like that. So I mean, we gotta get it up to operating temperature. We're gonna go to the highway, and then we're gonna do some pulls on the highway. Again, I'm gonna get on the highway, I'm gonna pull over to the shoulder, but wait till everything clears out, and then we're gonna just take off. Don't mind that, it's just the beep because I got the computer logging this, so we get proper actual data from the computer. Now again, this is set to Trifecta's tune, so we'll see what Trifecta does on a 0 to 60. We'll do a 40 to maybe 80. We're gonna try to keep it, you know, pretty much legal. I don't want to get pulled over either doing crazy amounts of you know, speeds out here in the highway. So we're gonna try to keep it as safe and as legal as possible. Again, I wish I had a dyno to do this in. It'd be give you guys better results, but well, this should be good. This is kind of a more real world. I will not be taking off the traction control. I will not be launching the car. It'll be more of a realistic, you know, how you guys run it now. The only time you, of course, you launch it is if you're actual at a drag strip and racing. I don't condone and I don't recommend doing this on city streets or racing. None of that street racing BS. You know, it's, you guys should just keep everything on the races and in a track. That's what I recommend, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna get to the highway. I'll catch up with you guys then, and then we'll go ahead and start logging some runs. Trifecta first, then we'll go back, download the Justin Schmidty tune, the last tune that we did, and then log that run, check that out, and again, you'll guys be seeing actually my dash as well when I'm doing these and seeing exactly what the gauges are doing, boost and everything in the dash, and then we'll compare, of course, to the Trifecta or to the log on the computer here. Now again, I don't know how to screen record on this computer. It is a Windows computer. If you guys do not have any tips on that, go ahead and put them in the description below, because I tried it. I tried hitting that Windows and G, I guess it is, something like that. And I guess my computer's not capable of recording it. It's a little cheap computer, it doesn't have much memory. But anyways, that's beside the point. Let's go ahead and get to the highway, and then we'll get going there. All right, guys. So we are here in the highway. I'm facing a straightaway. Very little traffic. I think it's Sunday at 9 o'clock in the morning. In Guadalajara, but waiting for some traffic to go by. Actually, pretty clear highway, and I'll let those cars get in front of me, and then we're gonna do the first pull at 0 to 60 with the Trifecta tune first. Then I'm gonna, once I hit 60, or you know, or we'll go a little bit above 60 maybe, we'll bring it down to about 40, try to give me some clearance here, and then we'll do a 40 roll with that tune. And then we'll get off the highway and we'll do another 0 to 60 just to get 3 total of them. Head back to the house, set the Schmidty tune, the last Schmidty tune that he sent me, and then do the same thing on that. We'll do exact same thing, 0 to 60, 40 to 80 or whatever we get to, and then another 0 to 60 on the way back home. You don't have to go back home when you are doing the tune, especially for Justin Schmidt, because it's all saved in the computer. But I just do that in case, you never know, if I set something and the computer decides not to want to write and you don't want to be stuck in the middle of the road somewhere. But that's why I have to keep going back home. But anyways, we'll start off this right now. So give me a second here, let everything kind of clear out here. I'm waiting for traffic to kind of go by and get me some distance here. Again, Trifecta is the first one. We're gonna get going now. Start the computer. Start the login on this one. And here we go. All right, so that was pretty good actually there. Now I cannot get down to 40 miles an hour. So we're gonna take it off of a 60 roll here. I'm gonna get onto the passing lane, and we're gonna take it off of a 60 roll and see what we can get here. We got a mile to my exit, so we're gonna try to do this real quick here. Ready? Here we go. All right, so that was the 60 roll there. We're gonna be doing 60 instead of 40 rolls. So 0 to 60, 60 to whatever I reach there. And now we're gonna get off the highway, which is coming up. And we're gonna do the same thing, come back around and go back to the other exit, which is by my house, and do the same thing, 0 to 60, 60 to whatever, and have that log on there. So actually I should do one more 0 to 60 and then we'll go back home. So that'd be 3 actual logs. All right, so now we are back on the other side, headed the other way now. Gonna do the same thing, 0 to 60, 60 to whatever speed we get to. Log in that one, and then we'll take a look again, comparing everything here. Now this time, actually, I'm gonna show you guys the road instead of showing you my stupid face. I don't know what kind of faces I make when accelerating at that, but I'm gonna just show you the road instead. That way you guys can see I'm actually going on this speed. Not that you guys wouldn't believe me, but either way. So here we go. We're gonna go ahead and wait for traffic to clear up. There's about 2 more cars coming, and then we'll go ahead and do this 0 to 60 on a trifecta tune, run number 2. Here we go. All right, we'll get it down to about 60. So, just off of those few pulls I just did with trifecta, I can tell you that there's a big difference. Now, one thing I will I want you guys to keep in mind is the fact that with trifecta, it does learn the way you drive, and as you drive the car more, it'll actually feel better as it learns the way the car drives. So that's one thing you guys want to keep in mind. Now, with trifecta, of course, you guys saw me, I wasn't the boost, I was looking at the boost gauge as well, wasn't getting very high up there, but just the feel of the car from when me and Justin finally set up the whole thing, and to now, I can feel the big difference. I can feel a huge difference in just the way the car accelerates and everything else. So right now, I'm gonna go back home. We're gonna set it back to stock first, and then we'll download Justin's tune, and then we'll come back to the highway and do the exact same runs, but with Justin's tune, and see exactly where we end up at with his tunes. All right, so now we are back home after doing the trifecta run. Now we're gonna go ahead and set up, and I actually already set the car back to stock. That's one thing about a cheap computer, it never responds like you need it to, but let's see here. I'm gonna open up HP Tuners. Gonna go ahead and read some files here. Here are all my tunes. Take a look at that. Tune 13 is the last one. Go ahead and open that one up. We'll set the car to diagnostics mode. That's done. And then we'll go ahead and flash it to Justin's. Now check this out. This is how quickly this thing downloads this. Hit right. Alright, sorry, so it wasn't reading the interface for whatever reason, but now it is. Look how quickly it writes this thing. Look at that. 18 seconds left. Everything shuts off. That should go away. We're good to go. Let's make sure you close it. And then we'll shut the car off. And then turn it back on. Alright. So now we're going to go ahead and do the Justin Schmidt tune finally and see what this car does with his tune. Alright, so back on the highway. I'm going to be doing another 0 to 60 here. Gonna see what happens. Waiting for some traffic to clear up. There is a guy actually right in front of me here. I'm not sure if he got it flat or not. I might go a little bit past him just to make sure he's not in the way when I take off here. I don't want to. I mean, this would be the perfect takeoff spot here because I actually have a merging lane and there's no cars usually merging. But just want to make sure. I'll pull in really quick into the highway here. But anyways, 0 to 60, Justin Schmidt's tune, the Schmidty tune. So traffic's clear. We'll start my log. All right, 0 to 60, Justin Schmidt's tune. Here we go. More to 0 to 100, and I was gonna show you guys the road. Now I was gonna turn the camera, but either way, that was actually pretty good. Car it kind of slid when it first took off, even with traction control. We'll bring it down to 60, and we'll do the other run. Full throttle, 62, whatever. All right, and that is Justin Schmidt right there. We're gonna do one more 0 to 60 and then call it at that. But yeah, that's Justin Schmidt's tunes right there. You saw the PSI. Again, I'm looking at my own gauge here, but yeah, that's stop the logging for now. We'll continue the log when we come back around on the highway. But yeah, that's it. On the next run, of course, I'll show you guys the highway. I don't know which version you like better, my face or the highway. But we'll do that right now. All right, so we're gonna do one more run, 0 to 60, and see what happens here. Again, Justin Schmidt tune. All right, traffic clearing up. And here we go. Okay, so that wasn't 0 to 60, and I don't think the first one was 0 to 60 either. You get up there pretty quickly with Justin Schmidt's tune, I'm not gonna lie. We'll bring it down to 60 and do one more pull. There you go. That is some pulls with Trifecta, Justin Schmidt. We'll go back home, finish this off, and kind of come to a conclusion at the end. Exactly which tune was better. And yeah, I mean, I'm speechless, honestly. Like I said, I already felt this thing, but the power off of this thing is just incredible. I do want to talk to Justin about a couple things here. It's basically every time after I do some runs like this, or even if I just drive the car, mainly when I do some pulls on the car, and you get up to a stop sign or you start idling, you get the rough idle. It happened to me when I was waiting to hit the gas. It was just kind of like missing. It felt like it was missing, even though the scanner wasn't showing any misfires. I will scan the car when we get home. That I will show you guys, and we'll do a quick scan there with the blue driver. And it's doing it again. It kind of does this thing where it's kind of like the idle's up and down, and it feels like it's missing. And of course, it takes about 5 seconds to stabilize, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. I will message Justin, let him know, send him probably the log. I did log that when it was kind of acting kind of goofy. And again, it may be something that he might have to tweak just a little bit. here and there. And again, that's what happens when it comes to it. When we first did this, when we first finished everything was good. I drove the car, ran hard, everything was good. On the Trifecta tune, it didn't do that at all. But it's so I'm at a light right now, and it's doing this little jumping with the RPMs. You can hear, I don't know if you guys hear the car. But the RPMs do drop from about 700 or so. They dropped down to about 6, and it just, car drives fine. It doesn't miss. It doesn't. It's not like it's missing right now. I got no check engine light so far. Again, we are gonna get home, scan it, see what's going on. I'll probably log this last ride. Actually, here, let me log this last ride here, just so we could, Justin can look at it. So I'll send him a log and stuff like that. And again, if you guys are paying for a service, I'm 100% with you guys. Be honest, you guys are paying for a service from Justin. By all means, go ahead and let him know. He is the gentleman that is, or the person that is, of course, doing the tune on the car for you. He knows what he's doing. But again, when it comes to tuning a car, things like this are bound to happen. Again, the Trifecta tune is a can tune. It's basically been around for a long time. He's tuning your car remotely, looking at values, looking at everything, adjusting here and there. You know, you adjust something with too much spark, a little bit, 1 point off, a decimal on a spark, and everything else is off, and that could be it. Tune number 12 felt awesome, but he did say he revised tune number 12. That's why we ended up with tune 13, which felt great as well until right now. We did a few pulls, and the car's kind of doing this little weird idle thing. So I'll let him know. No big deal. I'm sure he'll just do an adjustment on it or so, and go from there. So, and I'll let you guys know actually here when I get back over here before I finish the video exactly what he said. All right, so we are back home now. We're still sitting in the car. It's in the garage. Again, everything runs good. When that rough idle happens, it stabilizes itself after about a few seconds, and then the car's fine after that. It drives good if under normal circumstances. If you're driving around the city, it drives perfectly fine. It's just after you do some pulls, I noticed. Even yesterday when I ran the car before I took it out of the Schmidt tune into the Trifecta for the video, I noticed that it happened only once at a stoplight. But either way, I sent a message to Justin. He's looking into it, and again, he's there for support, of course, as well. You are, again, paying for a service when it comes down to it, and everything has to be properly. Again, maybe tune 12 is better. And again, I'm not exactly sure, but he'll look into it. And of course, he's really, he's really communicative. Once you guys get going with everything, he's kind of on point with everything else, and he does communicate everything very well. But anyways, really quick, just for the heck of it, what we're gonna do, I do want to scan the car, even though I wasn't showing any misfires. We're going to scan the car, and I'm going to use the blue driver tool. It's a little tool that I have. Of course, if you guys seen the video, if not, I'll put a link in the description for that. For the blue driver. It's actually a pretty cool thing. Car is scanned. And there are no pending codes, which is good. No pending codes, no actual codes. So that's a good thing. That means the system didn't detect any misfires. It's maybe something, it's got to be something very tiny. That is just an adjustment has got to be made for that that rough idle to go away. But anyways, let me get out of the car, get some better lighting in here. We'll use the light from the outside to finish up this video. So before I finish the video, I want to show you guys some things here. So this is the HP tuners, what the MPVI actually captures when you're using a computer and you're scanning. So for whoever does not use one of these, this is exactly what they look like. And of course, like I said in the previous video, this is how Justin sees everything and how he does his adjustments. Now, what we're going to concentrate on are two numbers here, the boost and the actual torque. Now, again, with Trifecta, when you first download it, your boost is pretty low. I remember my boost was at about 12, 10, and then it started kind of, through the more you drive it and the more you hit the gas on it, it starts to learn your drive pattern, and it actually increases the boost. I've hit 18 PSI with Trifecta once or twice, but you're constantly in the 15s, maybe, I'm going to say between 12 and 16 is where you're constantly boosting, even when you got the pedal all the way down, and it's not consistent. It does drop down. As you saw my runs with basically Justin's, it just kind of stays up there when you got the pedal all the way down. Anyways, let's take a look at these numbers real quick just so we get this video finished up here and get to the what I think about the whole thing at the end. So first run here with Trifecta Tune, we're at 383 foot-pounds of torque and only 8.5 pounds of boost on this thing, or PSI. Then of course the second run, this is actually the first run with Justin here, 448 pounds of torque at 17.7 PSI and boost. Next we're going to be looking at, this is Trifecta. Now Trifecta got to 408 foot-pounds of torque. There were 11.6 pounds of boost. So now you can see the boost going up in Trifecta as I drive the car more and more. This is Justin's though. Now this is the second run with Justin. 20.3 pounds of per square inch of boost and 432 pounds of torque. Trifecta's last run, 392 foot-pounds of torque and 12 PSI. As it starts climbing and climbing, if I would have kept doing it with Trifecta, I would have got it up to that 15 PSI, and the torque is kind of more consistent there. And now, Justin's last run, 492 foot-pounds of torque at 18.3 PSI. That was the highest at that point. Now, I have done some runs with Justin's calibration on there, or tune, and I've had hit, the highest I've hit was 505 foot-pounds of torque. Now, that is actual torque, according to what this spec says here. So I mean, you're up there. You're this thing is getting up to its limits, and probably a little bit less than its limits. It probably has more to go. Of course, you know, doing some E85 tuning and stuff. But anyways, let's go ahead, finish this video, and just recap the whole thing. All right, fellas. So there you have it. Justin Schmidt versus Trifecta. Who wins at the end? Justin Smith's tune, hands down, destroys Trifecta. It pushes your cars to the limit, even though it's pretty much stock. All I have is a ZZP intake, which does not much for it. We were talking with Justin, and he said maybe half horsepower, if that, maybe a little bit more. We don't know. But again, without taking this thing into a dyno, you guys saw the results. I showed you guys exactly the screenshots of which tune, which one's doing better. Justin Smith is pushing this thing. He's getting those boosts over 20 PSI on this thing. The torque is insane compared to what Trifecta is getting you. If you want to be conservative, if you want to keep the car as close to stock as possible, and you don't need all that power, you don't want to push the cars to the limits, by all means, go ahead and hit up Trifecta, get their tune. Very easy to install. I got a video on that. I put the description on the last video, but I'll put it on this video as well. And you're done. It's good, not knocking Trifecta, but if you want the most out of the car, you want the most power out of this thing, you need to go with Justin Schmidt's tune or Schmidty tuning. He will get the most out of this car. It is a trial and error thing. There are times that you'll drive the car and it'll feel weird and this and that, and it's all back and forth with Justin until he gets it all right. And like I said, with my car, it's pretty much all good. He may have to do a couple tweaks here and there. We just scanned the car, no code stored, so there's no misfires, nothing crazy. So that's it. Hands down, at the end of the whole thing, what you guys came here for is which one wins. Justin Schmidt's tune. You want the most out of the car, get that. And if you guys want to do it all in one shot, wait till the downpipes come out for these cars. I guess Rednick is coming out with some downpipes, hopefully down the pipeline here in the future. Don't really need an intake on the car. Doesn't really do much for the car. And then if you guys want to do an E85, that'll get you the most out of it. You get all that set up, get everything with Justin. It's going to cost a little bit more than just getting the tune, but you'll get the best performance out of this engine, hands down. So, future plans for this thing, I may be doing the E85, I may be doing the downpipes. I'm not sure yet, but definitely not doing turbos. But anyways, so to close this video out and let you guys go here, because I don't want to make this video too long, and I know I get into this thing where it's just kind of blah, 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 blah for a while. My final opinion, the most out of your car, you want the best performance out of the car, stock, go ahead and get Justin Schmidt's tunes. Go to Schmidty Tuning. If you just want to be conservative and just get a little bit extra power, Trifecta. Those are the two ways to go. Both tunes will do wonders for the car, no lie. But again, more power, do Justin Schmidt's. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. I hope you guys enjoy the results of the video. And if you did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Helps me out a lot. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys on my next video. Take care.